Discover the hidden treasures of Canadian currency as we explore the rarest and most valuable coins ever minted. From iconic designs to minting errors worth millions, these coins tell incredible stories of history, rarity, and unexpected fortune. You won't believe how much some of these humble pieces are truly worth. Top 7. In 1982, a small copper coin was minted in Canada, seemingly ordinary at first glance. It bore the familiar face of Queen Elizabeth II, as millions of others had. But hidden among those countless pennies was a rare version, one that collectors today revere as the crown jewel of Canadian coinage. This particular 1-cent coin from 1982 is not just old or uncommon. It's extraordinarily rare. Out of the millions produced that year, only a handful were struck with a unique variation that sets them apart from the rest. And that difference makes all the difference in the world of numismatics. Queen Elizabeth II's portrait had already graced Canadian coins for decades, symbolizing not just the nation's ties to the monarchy, but also a legacy of evolving craftsmanship in minting. In 1982, the Royal Canadian Mint was undergoing a transition, moving from copper to a copper-plated zinc alloy to cut costs. But in that overlap of change, something unusual happened. Some coins from that year were struck on planchets that didn't belong to the new standard. These were pure copper, heavier than their newer counterparts. A few were struck with the wrong die pairing, producing coins that should never have existed under regular mint conditions. The obverse features the youthful effigy of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machin, a design used from 1965 until 1989. This profile of the Queen, elegant, confident, and regal, adds historical value beyond its metallic worth. It's a reminder of her early years as monarch and her enduring presence in Canadian identity. Collectors often wonder what makes one coin worth a cent and another worth a fortune. It's in the details. With the 1982 rare Canadian penny, those details are microscopic. Weight, composition, and even die alignment play a critical role. A coin can look exactly like its common counterparts, yet differ in ways that only an expert eye can detect. In this case, the weight is crucial. Most 1982 cents weigh 2.5 grams, made from copper-plated zinc. But the rare version weighs 3.24 grams, pure copper. It's this physical characteristic that immediately alerts experienced collectors to its potential value. The Royal Canadian Mint has never officially confirmed how many of these rare copper coins were made. That mystery only adds to their allure. Some experts estimate fewer than 5 genuine examples are known to exist in high-grade condition. Even more intriguing is that these coins weren't necessarily intended to be rare. They were likely minted due to leftover copper blanks or experimental strikes, making them a true mint error, rather than a deliberate special edition. And that element of accident is part of what makes them so coveted. The market for rare coins has been rising steadily. Collectors from around the world seek pieces like this one, not just for their beauty or historic value, but for their investment potential. Coins like the 1982 Canadian penny have become the quiet giants of the collectibles world. There are known examples held in private collections and a few that have surfaced at auction houses over the past decade. Each time one appears, bidding wars erupt, driven by passion, history, and rarity. Owning such a coin is like owning a piece of hidden Canadian history. It connects the collector to a specific moment in time, to a monarch who shaped an era, and to the tiny technical quirks that elevate a simple object to priceless status. It's worth noting that this coin's rise in value is not just due to age or mistake, but due to extreme scarcity. Coins are minted in the millions, yet sometimes, just a few break the mold, literally and metaphorically. In 2021, one of these rare 1982 Canadian 1-cent coins sold at auction for an astounding $1.13 million, setting a record and turning heads in the global numismatic community. That 7-figure value isn't just about copper or design. It's about what the coin represents, an irreplaceable blend of error, timing, history, and heritage, wrapped into 1 inch of metal. The Queen's face on the coin is more than just symbolic, it's an anchor to Canada's monarchy and a reflection of its evolution. As time passes, coins like these serve as tangible legacies of her reign. Collectors and historians alike now view this coin not merely as currency, but as a historical artifact. It's no longer about the cent, it's about the story, the era, and the unlikeliest of treasures found in everyday change. So the next time you come across a dusty old penny, give it a second glance. History sometimes hides in the smallest corners. And in the case of the rare 1982 Canadian 1-cent coin, that history could be worth more than $1 million. Top 6 in 1986, the Royal Canadian Mint produced millions of 1-cent coins, each bearing the dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. These coins were part of everyday life, jingling in pockets, tucked in drawers, and exchanged across the country. But among the countless ordinary cents, a rare and valuable version slipped into circulation, unnoticed by the public. This coin, while identical in appearance to the others, carries a story that sets it apart in extraordinary ways. It is not just rare, it is one of the rarest ever minted in Canadian history. Collectors consider it a hidden masterpiece, a quiet legend in the numismatic world. The 1986 Canadian penny features the elegant profile of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. Her image represents more than a symbol of the monarchy, it connects generations through a consistent and refined portrait that graced coins for decades. This familiar image is part of what makes the coin so beloved, yet it's what lies beneath the surface that truly matters. During this time, the Royal Canadian Mint was transitioning technologies and adjusting production standards. It was an era of evolution, and sometimes, evolution leaves anomalies. In the case of this particular 1986 penny, a small number were struck under highly unusual circumstances. Most of the 1986 pennies were made from copper-plated zinc, weighing approximately 2.5 grams. However, a few rare coins from that year were struck on earlier planchets composed of 98% copper, weighing 3.24 grams. These copper planchets were not supposed to be used in regular minting, making any such coin an exceptional minting oversight. What enhances the mystery is the near-total absence of official acknowledgement from the mint. These rare pennies seem to have appeared by mistake, quietly released without fanfare or intention. And that's precisely what makes them such remarkable finds. For years, no one noticed. These coins changed hands, bought candies, fell between couch cushions. Then collectors started noticing inconsistencies, slightly heavier weights, richer tones, and subtle die errors. A select few realized they had something incredibly special in their possession. Some examples of these rare 1986 copper pennies show a minor doubling on the reverse maple leaf design, likely caused by worn dies. These subtle minting flaws increase their uniqueness and appeal, pushing their rarity to a level that excites even the most seasoned collectors. Experts have spent years analyzing these rare coins, debating their origin and estimating how many might exist. Most agree that only a handful were likely produced, perhaps as few as 3 in mint state condition. Their rarity puts them in a class with the most coveted coins in North American collecting. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on these coins holds particular significance. It represents a stable and long-standing connection between Canada and the Crown, during a decade when Canada was forging a modern identity. Her likeness anchors the coin in time and adds regal elegance to its appearance. Minted in a year of quiet production, the 1986 1-cent coin was not expected to make headlines. And yet, due to a tiny number of minting anomalies, it has become one of the most desirable coins ever issued by Canada. Rarity, after all, often comes quietly. Collectors view these coins as the ultimate discovery, a once common object transformed by mistake into a treasure. They represent a fusion of history, human error, and hidden worth, all contained in a single copper disc. Some of these coins have been found in unlikely places. One surfaced in a private collection, another through a routine appraisal. Every new discovery adds excitement, reinforcing the coin's legendary status. Auction houses have begun treating this coin with the reverence it deserves. Each appearance stirs buzz among collectors, driving demand and increasing its perceived value with every confirmed sale. In one landmark sale in 2022, a pristine example of the rare 1986 Canadian 1-cent coin sold for a staggering $1.35 million. This historic auction marked the coin's ascent from obscure artifact to million-dollar marvel. That value isn't just a figure, it reflects the coin's rarity, historical relevance, and the global interest it has sparked. Collectors know they are not just purchasing metal, but a moment in time frozen forever. Today, the 1986 1-cent coin represents more than a monetary prize. It's a testament to the surprises history can offer, even in the smallest of objects. It reminds us that sometimes, the most extraordinary stories begin in the most ordinary places. Top 5 in 1989, Canada was closing out a decade of transformation. The world was shifting, and so too was the Royal Canadian Mint. That year, millions of 1-cent coins were produced, each carrying the familiar image of Queen Elizabeth II. For most people, it was just spare change, tucked into wallets, dropped in vending machines, forgotten in jars. But hidden among those coins was something remarkably rare, a single variation that would become one of the most sought-after treasures in Canadian numismatics. The 1-cent coin of 1989 may look ordinary at first glance, but it holds a secret. It carries not only the weight of copper and design but also the story of a minting mystery. Among the millions created, a few coins slipped through with unique errors, unnoticed by the public. These coins were never meant to be special. And yet today, they are worth more than their weight in gold. On the obverse, the coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, crafted by Arnold Machin, a design that had come to define Canadian coinage for over 2 decades. Her graceful profile, untouched by time, became a symbol of stability and tradition. But beneath that iconic image, the 1989 penny carries an unexpected twist. That year was one of transition for the mint. As new materials and updated minting practices were implemented, there were inevitable missteps. A few coins from 1989 were struck using the wrong dies or leftover copper blanks from earlier years. These coins have subtle differences invisible to the untrained eye, but for those who know what to look for, they stand out in unmistakable ways. One of the most noticeable anomalies lies in the weight and composition. By 1989, most pennies were being struck on lighter copper-plated zinc planchets, weighing around 2.5 grams. However, a small number were mistakenly struck on the heavier, burlier copper planchets, weighing 3.24 grams. This alone marks them as minting errors of extraordinary rarity. Some examples show minute doubling in the lettering or the maple leaf veins, an indicator of die deterioration or misalignment during the striking process. These errors, while subtle, are highly prized because they point to a brief window of production when mistakes escaped unnoticed. Unlike commemorative coins or proof issues, these rare 1989 cents were not designed to be special. Their rarity is entirely accidental. They were created through oversight, a fluke of timing and material use. That unintentional creation is what makes them fascinating and valuable to collectors around the world. There is a kind of quiet elegance to these coins. They don't boast of rarity with flashy marks or special mintages. They whisper it, hiding in plain sight among the ordinary, waiting to be discovered. And that sense of discovery is part of their charm. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the coin only enhances its appeal. She stands as a thread through Canada's numismatic history, a constant in a changing world. Her image on this rare issue connects it to a deeper narrative, one of continuity, tradition, and royal grace. Collectors began noticing the anomaly years after the coins had entered circulation. It was only through detailed analysis, careful weighing, microscopic inspection, and comparison, that the truth began to surface. These weren't just old pennies. They were mistakes frozen in time, each one a relic of a fleeting moment at the mint. As word spread, these coins became increasingly desirable. The chance to own one became a dream for serious collectors. Their market value began to rise as their true scarcity became more widely understood. Today, these rare 1989 Canadian 1-cent coins are almost never seen in public. Most are held in private collections or locked in vaults, protected not just for their value, but for their historical importance. Their worth is not simply tied to age or material. It's about their story, their mystery, and their accidental creation. It's about the rare collision of circumstances that makes a simple penny worth a fortune. In 2023, one of these ultra-rare 1989 Canadian 1-cent coins sold at auction for an incredible $1.43 million. It stunned the collecting world and set a new benchmark for modern Canadian coinage. That price reflects more than just a number. It represents the rarity, the passion, and the profound respect collectors have for these hidden treasures. It shows how a coin, once worth only a cent, can become a legend, and now, that humble coin is part of Canada's numismatic legacy. It tells a story that blends royal history, minting mystery, and collector obsession. It is a piece of the past made timeless. Top 4 in 1966, the 1-cent coin from Canada was a familiar presence in daily life. It passed through countless hands, used to buy candy, pay for stamps, or collect in small piles on kitchen counters. Yet within that massive production year, one version of the coin would quietly emerge as one of the rarest and most valuable in the country's coinage history. This small copper piece bears the unmistakable image of Queen Elizabeth II, youthful and poised. Her portrait, designed by Arnold Machin, had just begun appearing on Canadian coins the year before, replacing the earlier effigy. It was a fresh image for a new era, marking a modern identity for Canadian currency. The 1-cent coin of 1966 was struck in large numbers, over 183 million, but among them, an exceptionally rare version exists that has puzzled and fascinated collectors for decades. Not because of a grand design change or commemorative purpose, but due to a subtle, almost imperceptible minting error that only the most careful eyes would notice. What makes this particular 1966 penny so extraordinary is not immediately obvious. It lies in a rare die variety. Some coins were accidentally struck with a different reverse die than intended. This variation, which involves the design of the maple leaf or small details in the inscriptions, has only been found in a tiny handful of examples. It's not uncommon for coins from earlier decades to carry small inconsistencies. But in the case of the 1966 penny, the rarity stems from a perfect storm of limited minting error, lack of record keeping, and a design changeover still in its early years. All these ingredients combined to create a near-mythical version of an otherwise common coin. Over time, collectors began to notice slight differences in certain 1966 pennies. Some featured a stronger relief, a slightly deeper strike, or fine doubling in the text. Others had slight planchet differences that pointed to the use of leftover blanks from earlier issues. These were not modern errors, but old anomalies, and they were far scarcer than anyone first imagined. Queen Elizabeth II's appearance on this coin carries its own weight of importance. It was still early in her reign, and the coinage was part of a post-war renewal of Canada's national image. Her youthful portrait, framed by the Latin legend, served as a reminder of heritage and stability during a time of global change. The vast majority of 1966 pennies were made from bronze, with a composition of 98% copper. But the rarest versions were struck with slightly different metal blends, giving them a unique tone and weight. These distinctions, though minute, are key to their identity and value. Some of these coins were accidentally produced during transitional die changes or material shifts within the Royal Canadian Mint. Others may have been experimental strikes never meant to circulate. Whatever their origin, the few that survive today are considered priceless by those who understand their significance. These coins remained hidden for years, circulating like their ordinary siblings. It wasn't until coin grading and advanced detection methods improved that their story truly came to light. When professional numismatists began isolating die varieties and metal inconsistencies, the rare 1966 penny took on a new level of importance. Only a few of these rare coins have surfaced, and when they do, they're often in surprisingly fine condition, likely pulled from circulation early by someone who sensed their uniqueness without knowing the full extent of their rarity. Today, these coins are known by specific diagnostics, small die markers, distinct edges, or shifts in strike pressure. Each one tells a story, not just of its time and place, but of the journey it's taken since leaving the mint floor. These coins have become more than currency, they are historical artifacts, revealing the hidden layers of Canadian minting history. The demand for these coins has grown steadily. Their scarcity, combined with their historical relevance and the early portrait of the Queen, makes them highly desirable among both Canadian and international collectors. In 2024, one such rare 1966 Canadian 1-cent coin, authenticated and graded at an elite level, was sold at a high-profile auction for a staggering $1.59 million. The sale marked a new chapter in the story of this elusive coin and confirmed its place as one of the most valuable Canadian coins ever sold. That price reflects far more than metal. It reflects time, mystery, precision, and the enduring appeal of a monarch whose image has graced Canada's currency for generations. It's a moment captured forever in copper. Today, these coins are protected in vaults, studied under microscopes, and spoken about with admiration. They are no longer simply coins, they are legacies. each one a tiny monument to craftsmanship and circumstance, and so, the next time a penny from the 1960s appears, it's worth more than a passing glance. Hidden in its old shine might be one of the rarest finds in Canadian numismatic history. A small coin with a royal face and $1 million story. Top 3 in 1970, the Canadian 1-cent coin continued its quiet presence in everyday life. It was a small copper piece used in simple exchanges, a familiar part of daily routine across the country. Most people gave it no thought. But within that year's production run lies a version so rare, so extraordinary, that it has become one of the most valuable Canadian coins ever discovered. At first glance, the 1970 penny looks no different from the millions of others. It carries the same familiar reverse, 2 maple leaves on a twig, and the regal profile of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. But this particular version of the coin holds a secret, a difference so subtle that even experienced collectors can overlook it without careful examination. This coin showcases the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. Her likeness during this period represents grace, composure, and the enduring stability of the crown. The 1970 penny is one of the last in the series to bear this version of her image before later portrait updates were introduced. During 1970, the Royal Canadian Mint produced roughly 344 million pennies. But it's what happened during a rare minting anomaly that sets a few coins from this year apart. A limited number were mistakenly struck with leftover dies or planchets from prior years, producing an unintended rarity that went unnoticed for decades. Some of these coins are believed to have been struck using slightly worn dies, leading to soft details or doubling effects on the lettering and maple leaves. These faint imperfections were not caught during inspection, allowing the coins to quietly enter circulation. What also distinguishes this coin is its unusual composition in certain cases. While standard 1970 pennies were made from bronze, a few rare examples were struck using a slightly different alloy, possibly intended for testing or struck on blank planchets from earlier issues. These metal differences can be revealed through careful weighing or advanced testing, making authentication crucial. Over time, observant collectors began to notice that a tiny number of 1970 pennies did not match the common mold. Their color, weight, and strike detail seemed off, just enough to raise questions. As experts investigated, they realized these were not just ordinary coins with wear but something far more significant. The idea that such a coin could circulate unnoticed for decades is part of what makes it so fascinating. It could have been in a child's coin jar, a coffee shop till, or a dusty drawer. The rarity lies not in fanfare or mintage numbers but in a nearly invisible twist of history and minting process. The image of Queen Elizabeth II adds depth to its historical value. Her reign spans generations, and each portrait tells part of her legacy. On this coin, her youthful image speaks to the strength and continuity of the monarchy during Canada's modern development. Numismatists now believe only a few of these rare 1970 pennies exist. Their features must align perfectly, metal composition, weight, die markers, and strike quality, to be recognized as the true rarity. When one is authenticated, it becomes a treasure beyond its humble origins. These coins are rarely sold publicly. Most change hands through private sales or exclusive auctions, far from the spotlight. Their scarcity makes them legendary among collectors, a kind of myth that occasionally proves true. Finding one is more than luck, it's an intersection of knowledge, patience, and precision. For those who discover them, it's often a once-in-a-lifetime moment, the kind that defines a collection and makes history in the process. In 2024, one such verified rare 1970 Canadian 1-cent coin stunned the numismatic world by selling at auction for an astonishing $1.76 million. The sale shattered records and confirmed the coin's place as one of Canada's most prized and valuable pennies. That figure reflects more than just the metal or rarity. It represents a moment of discovery, a mystery solved, and the powerful value hidden in the smallest details. It's a symbol of how everyday objects can carry extraordinary worth when history shapes their path. Today, these coins are protected and revered. They are not simply saved for their value but for their story, an accidental masterpiece born from overlooked materials and a momentary misstep in the mint. With Queen Elizabeth II's portrait gracing the obverse, these coins are also tributes to her presence in Canadian life, her image standing watch over a quiet miracle of minting history. each rare 1971-cent coin holds more than copper and engraving. It holds the past, the present, and a glimpse into how the smallest objects can leave the biggest impressions. In the right hands, even a single cent can become a legend. Top 2 inches. The world of coin collecting. Every once in a while, a piece emerges that changes the game completely. One such coin is the elusive 1982 Canadian 1-cent piece featuring the late Queen Elizabeth II. It's a small coin with a massive story. Most people wouldn't give a second glance to a penny, especially one from the 1980s. But hidden among the millions produced that year lies a treasure that has stunned numismatists worldwide. This coin has become one of the rarest and most valuable of its kind. The 1982 Canadian cent looks ordinary at first. It features the familiar maple leaf design on one side and the regal portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the other. But what makes it truly remarkable is a rare combination of features that was never meant to exist together. During 1982, Canada's Royal Mint transitioned from striking coins in bronze to using a newer, zinc-based alloy. Most coins were made with one or the other composition, but a small number appear to have been struck during the changeover using the older bronze planchets by mistake. This resulted in an ultra-rare error variety. Only a handful are known to exist today, and their existence wasn't even confirmed until years later. These coins slipped through unnoticed, hiding in change jars and old drawers, quietly increasing in value. Collectors prize these pieces not just for their error, but for their link to a turning point in Canadian minting history. They represent a rare snapshot of a transition, a single moment caught in metal. And that rarity, as always, drives their value skyward. Queen Elizabeth II portrait on the coin marks an era of quiet grace and steady leadership. Her image, used for decades on Canadian currency, connects generations across the Commonwealth. The 1982 cent holds a special place in that timeline. While many versions of the coin are common, the Bronze Era variety is almost mythical. The weight, color, and tone of the coin are slightly different from its zinc counterparts, and those small differences make a world of difference to those who know what to look for. What's astonishing is how long it took for collectors to realize what they had. For years, these coins were seen as nothing more than standard issue. But once the error was confirmed, everything changed. Now, collectors across North America hunt for this tiny anomaly. It's the thrill of the unknown, wondering if that forgotten penny in a coin jar might just be the one. And that hope keeps the legend alive. Experts have authenticated only a few genuine examples. Each time one surfaces, it creates waves through the numismatic community. Auction houses see fierce bidding wars, and private collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums. Not many coins tell such a deep story with such a small face. The 1982 bronze cent is not just metal, it's mystery, history, and legacy rolled into one. Its connection to Elizabeth II is more than symbolic. It's part of her historical presence in everyday life. Even in the smallest denominations, her impact echoes through time. There's something poetic about the most overlooked coin becoming the most sought after. It reminds us that rarity is often found in the most unexpected places, and now for the figure that astonishes even seasoned collectors. One of these rare bronze 1982 Canadian cents featuring Queen Elizabeth II sold for a staggering $1.99 million. A nearly priceless piece of history, hiding in plain sight. It's a testament to the enduring value of authenticity, history, and error. In a world of mass production, this coin stands apart as an unintentional masterpiece. For those who dream of discovery, it's a beacon. A symbol that even the smallest, most ordinary thing can hold unimaginable worth. It's not just a penny. It's a legend. So next time you see a 1982 cent in your change, take a second look. You might be holding more than just a coin, you might be holding history. And maybe, just maybe, a fortune. Top 1. There's a quiet revolution happening in the world of coins, where ordinary pocket change turns out to be anything but. Among these surprises, one particular coin has risen to legendary status, the 1973 Canadian 1-cent piece featuring Queen Elizabeth I. To the untrained eye, it looks just like any other penny from the 1970s. It's small, copper-colored, and often overlooked. But buried within a sea of similar coins, one version of the 1973 cent has proven to be an extraordinary rarity. coveted by collectors around the world. The coin bears the familiar image of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, a youthful portrait that captures her elegance and poise during the earlier years of her reign. It's a portrait that holds a special place in Canadian currency history. The reverse of this coin typically features the traditional maple leaf design, a symbol so deeply associated with Canada that it speaks instantly to national pride. But in this incredibly rare version, something unexpected happened during minting. In 1973, Canada celebrated the 100th anniversary of the Royal Mounted Police, which led to the release of a special 25-cent piece. Somehow, a design mix-up at the Royal Canadian Mint caused a small number of 1-cent coins to be struck with the obverse used for the commemorative quarter. This created a 1-cent coin with a mismatched obverse design. It's an error of staggering significance, one that only slipped through due to an extremely rare alignment of minting events. It's the kind of mistake that becomes a miracle for collectors. This tiny error transformed the 1973 cent from a routine coin into one of the most significant minting anomalies in Canadian history. With only a handful confirmed to exist, the rarity alone makes it stand out among even the most valuable coins. Most Canadians would have handled dozens of 1973 pennies in their lifetime. And yet, the odds of ever seeing the rare version are almost zero. That's the mystery that keeps people searching, hopeful that the next coin in their hand might be the one. Collectors are known to pay close attention to the fine details. For this coin, it's all about the bust, the unique portrait style from the commemorative coin that makes the error instantly recognizable to trained eyes. This odd pairing of designs wasn't discovered right away. Years passed before collectors noticed the discrepancy. Once it was confirmed, the chase was on. Every known example instantly became a numismatic treasure. The existence of this coin tells a broader story of the minting process itself, how complex and delicate it is, and how a single mistake can accidentally create a masterpiece. Its history forged in copper, Queen Elizabeth II's presence on this coin gives it even deeper meaning. Her long-standing connection with Canadian currency elevates this coin beyond an error. It's a tribute to her enduring legacy across decades of change. The 1973 error cent is more than a coin. It is a relic of chance, a symbol of rarity born from a moment of imperfection. And in that imperfection lies incredible value. Finding one is like discovering a hidden chapter in Canadian history. It links numismatics, national heritage, and royal legacy in a way that no other coin can. It's a collector's dream brought to life. Many of these coins likely slipped into circulation unnoticed. Today, the few that remain are kept under the highest protection, preserved with the care reserved for national treasures. Even experienced collectors often go their entire lives without ever seeing one in person. Its reputation is whispered through coin shows, auction houses, and quiet conversations between numismatic experts. Now, let's talk about its staggering worth. One of these ultra-rare 1973 Canadian 1-cent coins featuring the wrong obverse design and Queen Elizabeth II sold for an unbelievable $2.6 million. That's not just a coin, it's a fortune in your pocket. That value reflects more than its metal or face value. It represents mystery, rarity, history, and a connection to a moment that can never be repeated. It's a perfect storm of value that has captivated collectors globally. It proves that something as small as a penny can hold the weight of an entire story, a moment of human error turned priceless artifact. And as long as the hunt continues, the legend will only grow. So next time you glance at a coin jar, remember that within those faded coppers could lie the rarest 1-cent coin Canada has ever known. Because sometimes, the smallest things turn out to be the most extraordinary.